Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? Good. I like the energy. Let's try that again. Good morning. All right, now I'm in good shape. Now I'm up and moving. I'm in my element. When I'm sitting down, I'm like, ugh, Anyone like that? Is that just me? So I'm going to talk to you guys today about IBM's work and basically our vision. And it really starts with vision. So before we do anything, I'm going to take a moment here. I want you to just stop for a second and imagine what technology, in your mind, how technology can enable individuals with cognitive disabilities. And this is a very important exercise because it's going to mean something different for everyone. So I'm going to literally just pause here for just a second, let you ruminate on that for a second. And you can close your eyes if you want to. No going to sleep on me, though. That's the only thing. All right, so everyone has at least a mental vision, right? And this is important, and I'm just going to skip here in interest of time. It's important because this is actually how we operate, at least within IBM Accessibility Research. We sit and we think about how can we enable individuals? What can we do? How can we leverage the technologies that exist today and technologies that may not exist and bridge that gap to do great things. And I started off by saying that we have to do these things to enable the IBM solutions, the software stack, and everything that we're pushing out the door to ensure that they are accessible, because if they aren't, that's really bad. And we have to do things to generate market share and revenue, which is also important. But these things are developed for social good. And this is one of the great things about my group. And I'm going to share the outcome or the deliverable, if you will, from some of these ideation sessions or doing what we just did here, just sitting envisioning how we can enable individuals using technology. So I'd argue we're looking to do our very best to shape future as it pertains to AI in relation to enabling individuals with cognitive disabilities. Now, having said that, there are three kind of hierarchy, what can I say, these silos, areas, categories, if you will. They all kind of play, they interact, they all have synergy. But at a high level, if I'm forced to categorize them, I'll say AI for human comprehension, for aiding human comprehension. AI for independent living, and AI for environmental context. And we'll talk about a little bit regarding what these items mean. So what we're going to do, we're going to try to keep it very non-text. We're going to show some images, and I got a couple videos. I got 3 videos for each of these various categories. And I actually don't mind questions. So it's very hard to derail me because I usually have a very fluid, organic kind of approach. So if there are any questions midway, within, of course, the limits of time, we'll try to take those. But AI for aiding human comprehension. So one of the areas of research, and each 3 of these categories that I'm going to show are research efforts that we're looking for coming to fruition within the next 3 to 5 years. So there's a lot of research that has to preface delivering hardened solutions in this space. And this is anyone that's in research organizations, they are aware of this process. User studies, there's all the theory-based stuff. There's prototypes, they're delivering betas and all of these things. And what we're looking at here is a screenshot of a solution, a research effort called the Content Clarifier. What it looks to do is take digital content and summarize it, simplify it, augment it in such a way that it's easier to understand the signal or the content that's being conveyed. It does things like lexical rewording, replacing non-literals with literal terminology, taking complex, longer content, looking for the important elements of that content, the signal, if you will, to condense it into a more concise format. It's also, this initiative was awarded the FCC Chairman's Award earlier this year, which was awesome. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right into a video that's going to talk a little bit more, and all of these are about 2-ish minutes, so we should be good on time, that'll talk about how it's being used and the experience. So this is a short snippet from College Living Experience. This is an organization. Anyone familiar with College Living Experience? Oh, awesome. Multiple sites across the U.S., and we have partnered with them And they're deriving, their students rather, are deriving benefits from the technology, and we're also partnering with them for user studies and furthering the technology. So I'll start.
CLE is college living experience.
Okay, so that was Stephanie Martin. She's actually the president of CLE, wonderful lady, the great mission. But that just details a little bit about one of the partnerships that we forged, and there are a number of other organizations making use of the technology that's, again, continuing to evolve based on the feedback that we're receiving from these various organizations and integrating this feedback into the solution to progressing state-of-the-art record. So the next topic or area category is AI for independent living. Now, you'll see that there's a very diverse group of individuals up there. The initial focus was the elderly and aging demographic. There are a lot of statistical reasons for that. Again, market share, revenue. But also, these same technologies also apply for individuals that or looking to live independently that may have cognitive disabilities. There was a survey that IBM conducted some time ago, and it asked the parents of various students. There were students, I'm going from memory here, but the net of the survey was, what was the most compelling area, or the area that you're most concerned about in terms of your child's future? Was it education? Was it employment? Was it living independently? And invariably, the answer was living independently. They were concerned that there would be challenges living in a home environment by themselves and functioning and having the supports necessary to succeed. And we've heard from many other individuals that are doing great work in this space, and IBM too is involved, but IBM's approach or lens rather is solely software solutions that look to alert based on patterns that are observed. So these signals come from many areas, and we'll pause. I'll circle back to the privacy concerns, but censoring of the home environments for eating habits, sleeping habits, things like toileting, wandering behavior, their financial activities, if they're making unusual purchases, their social engagement. Also using wearables to monitor for falls and other cues, leaving the water running, leaving the stove on, things of this nature. And what we can do, using not a single sensor, it's the combination of all of these various behaviors that can show inflection points that maybe we need to alert a caregiver or a family member that there is something going on, something that's not typical. It's an outlying behavior based on the pattern that we've observed. So this is what we're doing. Getting to I'll briefly stop for the privacy concern. This is another survey that IBM ran. It's a very, very interesting result. The net of the survey was individuals in this demographic felt that they were completely fine with a great majority with these types of sensors being in the home, in that they were deriving the benefit of being able to live more independently at home longer. The way this was rolled out is in Sole, Italy, and a few nursing homes here, domestic. They instrumented these environments to train the models, and then they moved all of these sensors and the back-end technologies were pointed to the home environments. And I would like to share with you a video from one of the nursing home facilities that made use of this technology. And I'll quickly add that the alerting that was done was catered to the receiving channel. So based on for example, if the caregiver was receiving the signal or the information, of course the detail provided in there would be much different, maybe vitals and all of this other information. But if it's a family member that's receiving this notification, the information would be much different. It would say, perhaps you want to check on your mother or your extended family member. So there's a sense of customization there. Now, just in the interest of time, I've given a 2-minute warning. So that is a peer into the window of what's going on there. And the last piece that I'm going to very quickly touch on, and unfortunately, won't be able to show you the video on this particular one, is AI for context. And does anyone in the room know Chieko Asakawa? Anyone familiar with her work? Well, great. We have some folks familiar with her work. So just to talk to it briefly, the solution is it's actually a partnership between Carnegie Mellon and IBM. It's called cognitive navigation, or NavCog. And what it looks to do is perform indoor navigation, but enriched with additional elements to inform the end user of environmental context. For example, while the individual is instrumented with the solution, as I approach Yuta, it'll go, this is Yuta here, right? And if Yuta's smiling, you can go, Yuta's happy, right? And for an individual that is, blind or extremely low vision, this is incredibly compelling. And in addition to that, when the individual speaks or there's some statement made, we can use technology to interpret sentiment within the content to understand how they're feeling, in addition to visual cues, but looking at things that are contextual as well. So I know I'm out of time here, and I wish I had more time to share these things with you. But what I will do is I'll give you my email and LinkedIn here. Certainly you can reach out to me if you'd like a copy of this deck with the additional information or to ask any questions. This is kind of just a peer into the future of IBM's research and kind of the output of some of the vision that we've crafted. So thank you.
Thank you, Will.